Warning, the following parody contains strong language and adult themes. Right, so I want to do Tank Engine Thomas again. I figured I'd just cover all 4 stories. This one's called Thomas in the Guard, and this is when you find out that Thomas has got his own branch line now, and he's like got 2 gilfs called Annie and Clarabelle. So one day he's waiting on Henry, and Thomas is like, "That ball-bag's pure running late, I need to run my train." And Henry finally turns up, right, and he's like, "I don't feel well, Thomas." And Thomas is like, "Shut your hole, you fat dick." So Thomas is in such a cream puff that he pure bolts out the station, right, but he's completely forgot his guard. And Annie and Clarabelle are pure like, "We have the guard." But Thomas is a wee ball bag, so he's no listening. But finally a signal stops him, and Thomas is like, "Why am I no moving?" And his driver's like, "Well, the guard will tell us." But Annie and Clarabelle say, "No, he won't, because we don't have a guard, you dick." And Thomas is like, "I can't wait for you two to have non-speaking parts in the following series." But luckily the guard runs up a few minutes later, and hold on, a few minutes later, Thomas was going at some wick man. How the hell did the guard catch up with him in a few minutes? What, is he the Flash or something? Anyway, the guard catches up with him, and then they make up for lost time, and that's about it. So let's move on to Thomas goes fishing. And on Thomas's branch line, he goes past the river and he's like, "I want a fish." But everybody's like, "No, you dafty, we don't go fishing." But one day, the water tour's pure out of water, and his driver and fireman decide, "We'll go get some for the river." And they start fishing it out the river using this bucket that's got 5 holes in it. Come to think of it, that bucket's got 5 holes in it, and that's a pretty steep drop to that river for that bridge. How many times did it take them to get that bloody water, man? So finally, Thomas starts moving, but he starts getting what I can only describe as the Thomas equivalent of constipation, because he keeps thinking, "I'm going to burst, man." So they finally get him into a siding, and they put big danger signs up around him because they think he's pure going to explode, right? And then the inspector and the big bone boss man turn up. So the inspector's like, "Hey, big bone boss man, you want to come up and check what's in this tank?" And the big bone boss man's like, "You want me to climb a ladder, you prick?" But he does it right and has a look in and is like, "Oh, Thomas, why is there fish in your tank?" "Oh, shite." So they decide to do the only logical thing that they can do. They go and find some fishing rods. They fish the fish out his tank, and then they pure beat the fish to death, and then have a big supper of fish and chips right in front of Thomas. So we move on to Thomas Terence in the snow, and Thomas sees this wee tractor called Terence, and Terence is like, "Hello, I'm Terence, I'm ploughing." And Thomas is like, "I'm Thomas, you look but ugly, mate." "I'm not ugly, you racist prick. These caterpillar tracks let me go anywhere, I don't need rails." "Well, I don't want to go anywhere, I like my rails, so piss off." But then the snow comes and Thomas is like, "This snowplow's pure mocket, I'm no wearing that." But his drivers are like, "Tough titty, Thomas." But Thomas turns into a wee 2-year-old and has a pure tantrum and breaks his snowplow. And of course it comes back and bites him in the bunker because he goes face first right into a big snowdrift. So Terence turns up to pull him out and he's like, "Vindication!" And Thomas has to apologise because he was a bit of a prick. But there was a wee mad red bus that was taking Thomas's passengers when he was stuck in the snow. And Thomas in turn meets this bus in the next story, Thomas and Bertie. And Bertie's like, "You're Thomas. I took all your passengers because you were stuck in the snow. Want me to take him today?" And Thomas is like, "No, because I'm pure Lightning McQueen, ya ball bag." "No, you're not. I could kick your arse." "Oh, really?" "Aye." "Want a race?" "Aye." So off they go and have this pure mad mental race. So at one point Thomas is in the lead and he's like, "Get it up, ya dick." And then Bertie gets ahead of him and he's like, "Get it right round ya starfish." But after Thomas gets some magic water, and it must have been magic water because all of a sudden he goes flying like a jet powered engine. No wait, that's in season 6. But anyway, he goes pure fast, right, and manages to beat Bertie in a race. And Bertie's like, "Fair play, mate, I'll kick your arse next time." The end.